This is BlissVille, Misadventures in BlissVille, and I am David Joshua Lawler. Joshua is my middle name, as my friend Colin has consistently reminded the audience. Tonight I'm with my buddy Andrew. He's sitting on my lap right now, so say hello to the folks, Andrew. We're taking some steps backward to discuss that hideous bitch goddess, the past. So first, I want to preface this by saying I have next to no memory of the last 15 years. We're talking 2000 on. Little bits of memories. I know I was married April 9th, 2000, to my wife of nearly 15 years now, Bronwyn. I know that it snowed that morning, and then by 7 that night, the temperature shot up to 70 degrees, and then it was 85 degrees the next day, April 10th. So I remember that everybody was telling me that snow was a sign of good fortune or something along those lines. Honestly, I think people were frightened, so they had to make something up on the spot, you know. So I remember 9/11. Because I was laid up after some ridiculous surgery that I had. I went up to the roof and I see the twin trails of smoke rising up in the air. People are calling me, but I'm staring at the television without speech. And I remember the blackout in 2003 that lasted for about 24 hours. That was an interesting story because Bronwyn had gone back to Michigan to visit her parents. This was before the baby was born, so she went and she wound up at the outskirts of where the blackout was affected. She was like in a small town in Michigan, and then if she went down 20 miles south, she would have hit the area of the blackout. So she was fine, but the lights were out, and I was scared to death for about an hour because everyone was thinking it was a terrorist attack. What were you doing? Where were you during the blackout?
Hamilton Parkway in. They called it when you're looking for an apartment there. They call it Bay Ridge, but it's actually Diker Heights, because that's just not as popular. It doesn't sound as good with the real estate agents.
Diker Heights.
Yeah, depends on.
So, we've got Diker Heights. We've got Bull Dyke Lane.
What? You're gonna stick your finger in the. No.
This is Fisting Alley over here.
Moving rapidly along.
Scissors Lane.
Yeah. Take my wife, please. So yeah, I'm working at home. I just started. You know, this is 03. I was it was 03, right?
Yeah, it was 03 August.
Yeah. I was working. I was just starting my business, and so I was working at home. I was on what I refer to as my house arrest, where I spent just almost 2 full years without leaving my block in Brooklyn, in order to get my company started. Mm-hmm. And that day, my girlfriend at the time who lived with me, her name was Jess. She was working in Manhattan, and the lights went out. And I had $6 in the console of my Jeep, because I had no money because I wasn't prepared because there was no no ATMs, nothing. So
were these coins or paper money?
There was paper money, and then there were. I probably had like maybe it was $6 in paper money and maybe a few coins. And I was like, okay, like I don't know what this is, but I know that I'm not going to be able to get food for very long if this is a problem. So like I went and I spent the $6 right across the street at the dollar store. I got peanut butter, bread, and candles. And hauled my butt back and some batteries to make a radio work. Hauled my butt back over to the house, and this is back in the day. Now I have batteries all over the place like crazy.
Wait, they forced you to pay for this stuff during the blackout, and they couldn't operate a register. And
I don't think they forced me. I think I willingly went along because I'm that kind of guy.
I would have looted.
You would have been like, they owe me these batteries and this peanut butter.
No, I would walk in. And I'd be like, I'm taking the batteries. I'm taking the peanut butter. You can't call the cops. You can't operate your register. Fuck you. Bye. And then I'd have to move out of the neighborhood.
They might have pulled out a gat or a shillelagh, and then where are you at, son?
Well, it would have to work, too, because of the blackout, nothing works.
Yeah, well, that's true, but I think guns still work.
Wait a minute, my hammer doesn't work anymore. What the hell?
Like, gee, this billy club that I got back here, it doesn't work anymore. Like,
Now all
so
it does is just sit there. It does nothing.
and thank God we had cell phones at that time. So I got in touch with Jess, got in touch with my dad, made sure my family was all right there, and then I drove all the way across Brooklyn, all the way from Fort Hamilton Parkway to the Manhattan Bridge, and picked up Jess.
And there were no street signs. The street signs weren't working, right?
There were no lights, but back then it was close enough to 9/11. Like, I had almost no trouble. Everybody worked together. We all ran it like a four-way stop sign at every intersection. We kept the lanes clear for emergency vehicles, just like we had to.
So everybody was like, "Yeah, you go. No, you go. No, it's okay. You go. I'm not much of a hurry."
That it was New York. We all, we paid attention and went when it was our turn. It's not like South Carolina where everybody wants to sit there and let you go. It's annoying. like how many times I sit there and I wait. These guys, they're like, "No, you go. No, you go." It's like, fine, I'll go. Like,
and then as they're watching you drive off, they go, "I can't believe he went."
Yeah, it's like, why is that guy so mad because I let him go? It's like, because you made me sit here for like 5 minutes. Like, it's like we all could have gone 4 times already.
So
anyway, yeah, so that was really what happened.
I had nothing. All I had, I had a couple of these cheap RCA black and white monitors that I use for shooting, because most of the time I was doing like 2 camera setups, so I'd have 2 monitors going so I could see both angles at the same time while I was directing, and they ran on batteries and they had a radio. So the batteries are still working. I turn it on. The first thing I hear, "This is not a terrorist attack. This is not a terrorist." So I'm like, okay. Then I'm listening to the radio, and then the only channel that I could get, because it was a TV too, it had a channel thing on it. The only thing I could get was channel 11. They were showing Will and Grace all fucking night, so I had to watch that.
Shoot me. Wow.
But also, I had a gas
blackout watching movies all night.
I had a gas stovetop, so I lit the pilot light and made myself hamburgers in the dark, because that's the only thing I had in the fridge, and everything was going to go bad anyway. So I was making hamburgers in the dark, or at least by candlelight, and I had a night light, like on my High 8 camera. I had a Sony High 8 camera with like a little flashlight on it, so I used that to walk around and everything.
It was frightening. It really was. It was a scary night. Particularly, because we'd all been through the 9/11, and like we all had no matter what they were saying about it not being a terrorist attack, we were all like kind of like, yeah, then how the hell did this happen?
It turned out to be some dick in Ohio or something, right? He tipped over a control. Oops.
He spilled coffee on something or something like that. I mean, we never really got the straight story. It's one of those deals like we don't really know.
Yeah, we were blaming Canada.
It wasn't like Flight 800 or something where it was where there's actually like, yeah, that really was a terrorist attack. You people just aren't telling us, It wasn't like that. But
let me tell you. That is, other than the cyber hackery we're hearing about lately, that is a good way to scare the hell out of people right there.
Yeah, sure.
So terrorists, if you're listening, try it again.
Yeah, try it again. Go to town. I'm sure they will. They don't need our encouragement. They'll and then like the first thing they'll do is you'll have some stooge, whether it's Obama or whoever, come on TV. Go, "This is not a terrorist attack." You
sound a little bit like what was that character Phil Hartman played on The Simpsons? Troy McClure.
Troy McClure. Hi, I'm Troy McClure. You may remember me from such podcasts as the one I did 5 minutes ago.
So during that time, I guess it was between 1999 and 2004, made some movies, Telltale Heart, Angel of Death, They Only Come Out at Night, Ligeia, American Punk, Vortex. Only 2 of those got any attention or made any money, not much. Just more of a pittance, but I learned later on that Ligeia was a top seller for Film Threat, if not the top seller. But Film Threat's a whole other set of bullshit I'll say for another podcast. So jump to 5 years later, 2006, Christmas Day, my daughter's born. The due date was supposed to be around the 29th, and then they changed it to the 26th. And then the doctors just said, fuck it, come in and we'll cut that thing out of you, which they did. So after that, like it's 2010, when we moved upstate, everything was a blur. It was a run of jobs. Some were great, some were terrible. I think I only provided supplemental income, but most of the time after the baby was born, I was just basically cheap manual labor for the house. So I was a babysitter, a cook, and everything else. That's mostly what I remember. So I'm not going to talk about the previous year. You can listen to the 2014 Year in Hell podcast for that. I don't feel like going back to that. But this is going back about 20 years, I'd say. Back from the old days at the video store. My first question to you is, what happened to you in that time, those 20 years?
Well, I grew up a lot.
Right.
Back then I was, I was kind of a mess back then. I was finding my way, trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life. And, I had all these aspirations, but finally, and like, what I really wanted to do was write film. At the end of the day, the more I got involved with the people in that business, the more I decided that I didn't want to be involved with those people.
With
Hollywood in general. I hated the entire scene of it. The gatekeepers and the games that you need to play in order to get things done, like, sickened me. And those people just made me, like, just feel like I needed to take a shower. It just, various and sundry people that I met working, doing deals with, trying to get my script read, trying to, like, do, get jobs, just, it was skeevy. I just hated it. And then I had trouble, like, I began to realize. Then I moved away. I moved out and went on my own. Moved out of my parents' house, and then I had terrible writer's block. I couldn't get any stories out of me.
Yeah,
I couldn't get anything finished. Really, I found the outlet of in the business that I created, which is web hosting and server administration. I got to wear a whole lot of hats, and I got to do creative things and write content and design things and write code and create systems. That really let me have my creative outlet and made it so I didn't have this burning desire anymore.
So you were trying to get a script sold.
I was, and I started to fall out of love with movies. And in probably 2002, 2003, I actually stopped watching them for a while.
Really?
I gave up on. I remember I saw this piece of shit movie with fucking Angelina Jolie that it looked like it might have been okay. It was like an average thriller. It was it was Taking Lives, I think.
Taking Lives sounds familiar.
And it was a fucking like it was one of those movies, like, you see the trailer and like you kind of get the idea what it is. Every review you read does a review of the trailer because they didn't bother to see the fucking movie. And then you go to the movie, it's something completely different and it's awful. And I'm like, you know what? This is like the 5th time this has happened to me. You know what? Screw all this shit. I'm not doing it anymore.
And now, you got really bad movies that are very expensive. I mean, you have to actually...
Yeah.
You have to actually think about it before you want to go see a movie. I remember back when I was a kid, we used to go to the movies like 2, 3, 4 times a week. So there were, friends on occasion that I would worry about, and you were right there, right at the top of the list. I mean, I worried about Noah, I worried about Colin Rowan, I worried about countless other people. Let's just say some of your lifestyle choices were not conducive to a long, healthy, happy life. I told you this last night. You always had a good head on your shoulders, even in those heady days. So you were definitely not somebody I would ever wish ill will on. I mean, there were some idiots in my life. We all have idiots cross our paths, but you were way too smart to ever be an idiot. I don't know if that makes any sense to you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Not that I didn't have any moments for sure. Yeah.
Well, I find I have a lot less sympathy for genuine idiots. Smart people can do idiotic things, but if your life is a series of idiotic missteps, you're probably a lifetime idiot. You'll be sized up for a Darwin Award, and you'll die in a horrific, maybe tragic, but idiotic way.
Yeah,
but people who show promise in their life,
yeah,
a specific talent or a skill or something, they can always be counted on to turn their lives around and become successful. And that's exactly what you did.
Oh, thank you.
You turned it around. I mean, I thought that you would wind up, face down in a pool of your own vomit at some point. And I often thought, I mean, I should, wake up in the middle of the night, Jeez, I hope Andrew's okay.
Andrew's all right. Yeah, I'm sure. Like,
So how did
you know, I just sort of settled into a normal life. I I had a really rough go of things right after 9/11.
mm-hmm.
Uh, we Jess and we were together for 4 years. And we um, I'm trying to figure out exactly what order to tell you everything in because it kind of skips around in time. I have
So
something.
is it
I have
was it
a
how
Quentin Tarantino. You know, like,
yeah how
uh,
serious was that relationship?
well, I mean, we lived together for 4 years. It was
Did you
serious, but
contemplate marriage and all that?
no, we never talked about we never went that far. We were just kind of just there, and like she didn't want kids, and I at the time I was okay with that sort of but then like I wasn't comfortable with that, and that was really that and the girl that I was with before her, I was with for a year, and she and I broke up. She went away to college, and she and
Mm-hmm.
I broke up. And then when she got out of college, it's funny. We had a story. I mean, it was I was really it was New Year's Eve 2004 to 2005 New Year's Eve.
Mm-hmm.
And I got really fucking trashed. Like I was hanging out at my house in Staten Island, beautiful house, love that place.
Mm-hmm.
And I had planned to have a party, and then like it really just didn't happen. Something happened. Like I had all this champagne, so I got trashed and fucking gone. And I woke up the next day, and I'm just like having this horrible hangover. And Jess is going to her mom's house, so I'm there by myself, and I send. Yeah, I'm thinking about Irina, the girl that I was been with before Jess, and I was just like, she anyway, when she had gone off, she'd gone off to college. She was a technical dumbbell, and I created an email address for us to use, right? And like she would never fucking answer it, like she would never use it.
Right.
And, like that day, I was hungover and stupid, and I just like wrote an email to that address. Right. And she answered the next day.
Oh,
5 years later. and we were together after that. We were together for 7 years after that. We moved to South Carolina together. She still lives here. She lives over on the other side of town.
And what about the other girl? What happened to her?
Jess and I broke up in '05, and we don't talk. She's married to. So she got married last year or so, maybe 13, something like that. Yeah.
So now you were, I'd say you were adopted by a family. You're with a woman you've known and loved for 4 years, going back to the Tower video days. I know you're very happy where you are. So can I ask you, well first, this is something that doesn't happen in reality. What your story with her is very much like one of those crappy romantic comedies Mary Stuart Masterson would ask me to recommend for her.
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
But this actually happened in real life, so you're like,
it
what
did.
the?
Well, we met at Tower Video back in 1994. I think, by the way, like you said, 94 was when we were at Flix. I think we were at Flix in 96.
Are you sure that was 96? No.
Pretty sure.
No. Because we were working there when Pulp Fiction came out, and that was 94.
No way. Pulp Fiction. No way.
Yeah.
And, I was crazy in the store, just like, having fun and talking to people. And she came in there with a friend, and she was just awesome. She's just gorgeous, And I joke around with her, and she just like, I guess took a liking to that. And then one night I met her on the street, and we started talking, and we just walked and talked for hours, and we walked like 3 miles.
Yeah.
And I walked her home, and we hung out a few times that summer. really didn't know each other that well. I completely, totally fell in love with this girl, and there was really nothing I could do about it. She didn't live there. We didn't know each other long enough for that to really be anything that anyone would entertain as a real thing, even though I felt that it was. And
Did she ever come into the video store?
to flicks? No,
Yeah.
no. She was tower, a tower.
Is that the
And
tower over near Lincoln Center?
yeah, it was.
Yeah, I had a membership there. We used to rent videos on weekends because I had to work weekends a lot. This is going much later. And that tower video had a lot of great obscure old titles. I remember that. They were like Kim's that way. I had a video membership with Kim's as well.
Really? I never
Yeah, I
did.
used to go in there all the time.
Kim's is too far away. I ain't gonna go like fuck down there.
I kept that around because they had even rarer stuff that you couldn't find anywhere.
Yeah, they did. They did. But I mean, I would just, I there were these stores downtown, down in down around Chambers Street on the west side. That they would have like Chambers and West Broadway. There were these stores filled with video cassettes. You go in there and pick them up for like $3-4 a piece. Even then, when like they were actually considered to be worth something, like you could pick up old Larry Cohen shit, stuff like that. My dad would go down there for, I'd give him a list and he'd try and find stuff for me for Christmas down there. He'd spend hours through all that shit.
I had gone, I think, to. I rented this Peter Jackson movie.
Dead Alive.
Before, it wasn't Dead Alive. It was before Dead Alive. It was 1987. He made a movie called Meet the Feebles.
Oh, I remember Meet the Feebles. The puppets.
It's like a Muppets, an adult version of the Muppets. I got that at the Tower Video. I also found that Sam Raimi movie that no one wants to admit to called Crime Wave, and I managed to get that too.
Yeah, that one where they were trying to make a human version of the Roadrunner cartoons.
Yeah.
Did not work out well.
No.
Campbell.
It's a great museum piece for his later career.
Yeah, it's Sam Raimi, Coen Brothers, Bruce Campbell. I mean, it sucks ass.
Visually, though, I got to say it's fantastic to look at.
It is. Yeah. It does have some visual.
I would like to see like some kind of a remastering of that if that were possible.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen.
Let's get back to Heather.
Yes. So she left. We kept in touch for about 5 years, just on the phone.
Just saying hi, how you doing?
Yeah, saying hi, and wrote once or twice, and then we just sort of lost touch. And that was right about the time I met Irina for the first time, and and then life went on, and after 19 years, I found Heather. I looked for her a bunch of times and never saw her, never found her. And then I found her on Facebook.
Right.
So I really didn't like to use Facebook a whole lot.
What year was this when you found her on Facebook?
2012.
Oh, so it was around the time that. Yeah. Okay, I remember this because you were I think you were when I finally got on Facebook, which was about September of 2012, I think.
Mm-hmm. That was exactly the same time.
You had just hooked up with her, and then she moved in, right?
Yes. Well, I moved there first.
Because I remember seeing the announcement, you saying Andrew Logong is in a relationship, and
yeah. Well, we made it Facebook official, and then I moved there. I was, I kept my house here, and my mom eventually moved in here. Things were sort of in the air, but I just kept the place going here, and I was just going to go there and stay there with the idea that we'd eventually move here. But nobody was rushing anything. But then all of a sudden, she put in for a job. She works at the VA, the Veterans Administration, and she put in for a job. And we really didn't think she's going to get it. Didn't hear for months and months and months, and then all of a sudden we hear last October. Well, guess what? Yeah, we need you to start on the 1st of November or something.
Wow.
It was okay.
So it actually everything worked out for you, and she already had a child.
Yes.
So how is being basically, I guess, a stepfather to the child, what was the? I mean, what did he think of you?
Well, it's hard to really put myself in there and say that I know that I love him and he loves me, so I think we do okay. Like.
Can I ask you now? I asked you yesterday. Because you go on and on about how wonderful where you live is. I'm going to ask you again, as I get on the record, is there anything, and I mean anything, you miss about New York City?
There are two things that New York City is good at. New York City, you can drink as much as you want and not have to worry about driving home.
Yeah.
And you can order any kind of food you want at 4 in the morning.
Right.
Other than that, you can keep it all.
What about beautiful women everywhere you look?
There's
New York is full of beautiful women.
Yeah, no, well, I don't know.
I live in Astoria here.
Then you have to talk to them, and and then you find out they're women from New York, and they suck. Like, dude, come down south, man. They're nicer here.
Well, we were over here on my front steps here in Astoria, and there's like beautiful women passing by, and a friend of mine is like, oh my god. I'm like, stop doing that. Number one, stop staring.
Yeah, stop drooling. Put your tongue back in your mouth. Do you ever watch that orange juice commercial with Robert Loggia?
No.
Like, what do we got to do to make you drink your juice, Jimmy? It's like, who will you listen to? And the kid's like, I don't know, Robert Loggia? And Robert Loggia says, hey, drink your juice, kid. It's like the funniest commercial ever.
Of all people, Robert Loggia.
Yeah, like the kid is like, I don't know, Robert Loggia.
Drink your juice.
It's like,
I'm Robert Loggia. Drink your juice.
Somebody's cousin knew Robert Loggia and got her to do this ad. Like, seriously, on YouTube, punch it up. It's hilarious.
You know what? I'm gonna go on YouTube. I'm gonna find it. And I'm gonna put it in the podcast. Just
okay. It's not.
I do run clips on occasion, so
yeah.
There were movies that we watched continually at the video store, and one of them was Glengarry Glen Ross. And we watched it so much that we had the dialogue memorized. Everything. Just like, especially toward the end where it's coming to a climax, and
dude, we would forward to the end.
Yeah, we would just we would have it wound, Yeah. You're like in a bad mood. You're in a bad mood, or I'm in a bad mood. Somebody's got a headache. We're like, dude, Glengarry Glen Ross?
Just put it on, man. Put Glengarry Glen Ross on.
And you have it wound to the spot. And the spot, it usually begins right after Kevin Spacey's character has blown Al Pacino's deal with Jonathan Pryce. And Pacino's got this look on his face, and he goes, you stupid fucking cunt. You, Williamson, I'm talking to you, shithead. You just cost me $4,000. $4,000 and one Cadillac. What are you going to do about it?
What are you going to do
about it? Asshole. You fucking shit. Where did you learn your trade, you stupid fucking cunt, you idiot? Whoever told you could work with men? So that was my Pacino.
Nice. I
also really liked Jack Lemmon as Shelley the Machine Levine, and where he does. He says, "Fuck you, and kiss my ass." We did also
say about that.
We also liked the Alec Baldwin bit at the beginning. Where it's like always be closing.
It's like, really, if you want to get to the good part of Glengarry Glen Ross, it's like the Alec Baldwin bit at the beginning, and then forward to where Al Pacino finds out he's coming into the office in the morning that after it's been robbed. You get through all the existential discussion with the British dude and all that shit, and get rid of that, and the complaining of I come and I don't, and there's nothing there.
And then sometimes, I don't know, you would say you would come up to me sometimes and say, "Fuck you, Dave. You know you got a big mouth. You make it close, and this whole place stinks with your farts for a week."
See, I don't know about you, but I used to put these things. There's how the whole reason that I wanted to put Glen Ross on in the first place is because it cursed so much, and I just enjoyed like the customers being in the store while they were cursing like that.
Yeah, I mean it was like right up there with like Scarface.
Scarface,
the level of curses. Scarface is a movie that's even fun to watch like on regular TV because you hear them putting in the most ridiculous words in place of the actual curse words.
Oh yeah, like what was it? Like in Breakfast Club, or like fail you.
Yeah, fail you, Dad. Fail you.
Fail you, man. Flip you, no, flip you.
Oh, they did that with the movie Blue Collar with Richard Pryor, Harvey Keitel, Yaphet Kotto. Every time Richard Pryor said motherfucker in the movie, on TV, they would change it with cotton picker. So he would say, you cotton picker, you cotton picking, cotton pick cotton, you cotton picker.
What was it they did? The Smokey and the Bandit with the Jackie Gleason said "son bitch" all the time, bum or something like that. I forget what they did. It was really bad, like terrible. Like why?
Okay, so I'm gonna wrap it up.
No, we're wrapping up. All right.
So this is
I'm just getting going, man. I don't know.
This has been fun. Well, I got some bad news for you once I hit the stop button on this sucker.
All right.
But I'm gonna. And let me wrap this up. So this has been BlissVille. This is Andrew over here, and I hope to have him back many, many times. Maybe we can make this a Friday night thing, like Roadhouse
Cool.
or something.
Roadhouse, awesome. Always wanted to try you.
Okay.
The fuck guys like you in prison.
Try some new Minute Maid orange tangerine. It's got calcium.
Then I'm not drinking it.
Oh, no, it's sweet. You'll like it.
I don't believe you.
Well, then who would you believe?
I don't know, Robert Loggia. Whoa, Robert Loggia.
Billy, your mother's right. New Minute Maid orange tangerine tastes great. And it's got as much calcium as milk.
If you say so, Mr. Loggia.
Yeah.
This is great.
Enjoy your breakfast.
New Minute Maid orange tangerine with calcium.
Yeah.